Hello everybody, today we're going to be making some peanut butter cookies. I've never made them before and this is a new recipe for me, so hopefully they turn out okay. I am the only one in the house who likes peanut butter, but I'm seeing my friend soon and he also likes peanut butter, so we're going to give them a go. We're going to use this peanut butter because it is cheap, it is smooth, and it is perfectly good even though it is cheap. So we're just going to try it and see how it turns out. We're going to start by creaming together some butter, which is 113 grams, which I think is a stick of butter in America. I'm not actually sure, we don't measure things in sticks in the UK, we measure it in grams, which is more accurate as well if you're baking, by the way. And this is 100 grams of golden caster sugar and 100 grams of granulated sugar. And we're going to use this stand mixer to cream it together, and then I will come back and show you once that is finished. So now that we have creamed together the butter and the sugar, we're going to start adding the peanut butter. We're just going to mix it up because it's got like an oil on the top, and that's a normal thing that happens with peanut butter. That's not something that you need to worry about, of course. You just need to mix it together and it will then reincorporate itself. Also, I completely misread this label. This is crunchy peanut butter. I can't read. So we're going to add most of this container, and this jar is 340 grams. And we're going to add most of it. Not all of it, but most. I think that is plenty. And I'm just going to weigh the jar and get a rough guide on how much peanut butter is actually in the cookies. So there's 180 grams of the jar and the peanut butter left, so obviously I don't know how much the jar weighs, but I can assume that is about 200 grams of peanut butter in the cookies. Editing me here, just to find out how much peanut butter we actually put in the recipe, I've got another jar of the same stuff. So this is the same jar of peanut butter with 340 grams, so we're going to weigh this and then subtract what was left in the jar, and that will tell us how much we actually had in the recipe. So there's 373.5 grams total in this container, and due that is a very highly manufactured product, we can assume that it was the same roughly in the other container. So then it shows that we've got this much, and I'll show you on the screen, grams of peanut butter in the recipe. So with this, we're just going to mix it again and incorporate the peanut butter with the butter and the sugar, and then we'll come back. We have ended up with quite a wet mixture, and that is probably due to the very high fat content of peanut butter, just due to the nature of the peanuts, and that's just how they are. As I said, I've never tried this recipe before, so I don't know if that is what they are supposed to look like, but we're just going to roll with it and hope for the best. Now that the peanut butter is incorporated, we're going to add 1 egg and a teaspoon of vanilla extract. So we've added an egg, and now some vanilla extract. And for those who are curious, this is the vanilla extract I always use. I really like it, and we've used it in our family historically for many years, and it works really nicely, and I think it just adds something tasty to recipes, whether that's cookies or cakes. So now that these are added, we're going to incorporate them first, and then we're going to add the flour and the baking powder. So this here is the mixture that we have left. I'm just going to show you kind of the texture that we've got. So this is what it looks like. It looks interesting, I'll say. That's all I'll say. But hopefully the addition of the flour will make it a bit drier and make it more like a dough. So that is what we are hoping for. So fingers crossed it works. So I'm going to put out the camera a little bit so you can see a bit more. We are going to sift in the flour, and this is 180 grams of plain flour. I think in America it's called all-purpose flour. And then we're going to add a teaspoon, I think, teaspoon? 3/4 of a teaspoon, sorry, of baking powder. So that's half, and 1/4. Sifting it in. And now we're just going to fold all of this in. This is what the dough has ended up looking like. It is actually it's still quite a wet dough, to be honest, for cookies. Usually I'm used to a lot tougher, drier doughs for cookies. But I think it is the addition of the fat in the peanut butter that has made it this kind of glutinous almost texture. Hopefully, as I said, it doesn't make any difference, but we shall see. So after this bit, we're just going to get a baking tray, and we're going to line it with some baking paper. Baking paper? Parchment paper. I can't think of what we call it here. And yeah. So we're only going to start with 6 today because, as I said, I'm the only one that eats peanut butter in this house, and we're not sure how they're going to turn out. I don't want to bake them all now if they're not very nice, and I need to alter the recipe a little bit. So what we're going to do is, firstly, we're going to flatten these and put a little crisscross shape on the top. And I'm not convinced that the crisscross shape will stay on them as they bake. To be honest, I think they'll kind of just flatten out into nothing because it is very greasy. My hands are covered in grease and oil from rolling them, and as I've said, that is just the oil and the peanut butter. So I really have no idea how these are going to bake. I'm not used to this kind of recipe. What I think will be better is to ball them up into these shapes. So ball them up, flatten them with your fork, put the shapes on, and then freeze them. I think that will be much better, and I think they'll hold their shape a lot more. And because I have a lot of dough left, that is what I will do with them. So I'll put these in the oven, bake them, and then I will make the rest of the cookies in that shape and then freeze them, and then in a week or so I will bake the frozen ones and show you the difference. I think that will be quite interesting. So for now, these are going to go in the oven, and they're going to go in the oven at 170 degrees, which is 350 Fahrenheit, and they'll go in there for about 10 minutes and we'll see how they turn out. So let's go put them in the oven. So this here is the cookies after they've been baking in the oven for 10 minutes, and I was completely wrong. The shape on the top of them actually survived a lot more than I thought it would. They are incredibly soft at the moment, but that is to be expected due to the heat that is still in the pan and in the cookies themselves. They will continue to bake now that they are outside of the oven. Don't be bamboozled and don't let them continue to bake in the oven, or when you take them out they will get incredibly hard. So this is what we've got so far, and I'm going to let them cool on here for a few minutes and then put them on a cooling rack, and we'll see what they're like on the inside. So now that it has been a few minutes, we're just going to move these onto the drying rack, and as you can see they are a lot firmer now. They're still a little bit soft, but they're nothing too bad. You can handle them a lot more easily, and the bottom is a nice gold colour. So we're just going to put these on the cooling rack and let them cool down completely for a few more minutes. This is the cookies, and they're now completely cooled, and we're going to crack one open and just see what they're like inside. So they are quite soft still, and it's really nice. It's a really nice kind of soft fudgy texture. And just to taste them, I'm going to put this down first. I really quite like that, to be honest. The peanut butter taste comes through really nicely, and although there is a lot of sugar in there, you don't taste sugar. It doesn't taste super sweet, which is good because personally I don't like cookies that taste really sweet. That's why I don't buy cookies from the shop. You can taste sugar and that is never pleasant for me. It's quite a strong peanut butter taste, but it's also not overwhelming. It's not like you've taken a spoon of peanut butter, which is fantastic. And they are very soft and it's really nice. I'm actually very happy with these and I'm definitely going to make these again. Thankfully I've got so many in the freezer, so I have plenty for a while to come. But if you do like peanut butter and you do like cookies, these are certainly a recipe to try. So a very successful recipe in my opinion. So thank you for watching and I hope to see you in the next one. Bye guys.